The very gracious Candice, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. I love that we're talking and about to record this interview for the listener because we're both here in Bali. It was pretty funny how we're doing this, but it's obviously easier for us to kind of both sit in our own offices and be able to record this. But before we start jumping into everything about what you're doing, the fantastic things that you've got going on with fitness retreats and how we can start delving into this, I just want to say a huge thank you for taking the time out for myself and the listener, Candice.
My absolute pleasure, Chris. Thank you for having me.
All right, so before we start digging straight into this, let's uncover who you are, Candice, and why you are so phenomenal.
Thank you. Look, I've been in the fitness industry for over 10 years. I started out like most people as a personal trainer, ran my own boot camp business. I specifically trained women's boxing. I grew the business. I studied. I had business coaches. But the real turning point for me and my business was when I started running fitness retreats.
Now, fitness retreats for some people is a big, hairy, audacious thing that they've always kind of went like, oh, like that would be so fantastic. And they kind of see people like us doing it and they're like, but they're just completely stuck. Like, how do I go about this? What do I do? There's a million and one questions start popping up for you. How did it come about that you wanted to actually like jump into this arena?
Look, to be honest with you, when I first did this, I didn't get it right the first time. I had to have 3 attempts at it to really go through that trial and error learning period. This was years ago. The first way to do it, I guess, if you've got systems in place, if you've already got systems within your business, like direct debit, if you've got an admin assistant, if you've got a bit of a team behind you, it is easier, but it's not necessary. You can start running this with no clients whatsoever, fresh out of school. I think that the most important thing is giving yourself enough time and planning ahead.
A lot of people, when they kind of think about, all right, we're in the position, and it's great that you said that, like even if someone's coming straight out of maybe even getting qualified and they're thinking about delving into this and this is going to be their passion, how did you come about to thinking you wanted to do fitness retreats? Like what was the straw that broke the camel's back to make it happen?
I was almost burnt out. So I went from like a struggling personal trainer back in 2005 to being so fully booked, running 12 boot camp classes a week. Like I had 3 staff. I'd leave home at 5 in the morning and I'd get home at 8 o'clock at night. And I literally one day came home and just collapsed on the couch in exhaustion. My husband was like, hey, babe, I've got this idea. Like, why don't you start running fitness retreats so like it can for your clients?
Geordie, what a brilliant man he is.
He's an Aquarian. Typical ideas, always thinking outside the box. And it is very positive for me, but I always do all the work. And he goes, what about this idea? But that is literally how it came about. I put out an expression of interest to the clients I had, came back with a great result. So I decided to run it. And I didn't leave enough time. Like I tried to run it like 2 months away. Over the period of the last 10 years, I've realized you have to have 6 months planning. You have to have 6 months marketing. One of the beautiful things I implemented when I ran fitness retreats was payment plans. So the payment plans allowed people, like my target market was women, 35 and with 2 children, generally with an income of over $100,000 a year. For them, it was a lot of money to chuck out $1,000 for a 2-day retreat. So with 6 months out, you just add it to their weekly direct debit payments. And that was probably the biggest sales point. I didn't have to sell it. I just put it out there, created an offer, and said it's only this much extra per week.
Now, there's obviously a lot of hurdles when someone starts doing this. And just so as well, the reason, like when we were having breakfast the other day and we were covering, like we're telling each other our stories and how we've gotten to where we are. And it was funny how both of us were sitting there having breakfast and we kind of went through the exact same process of just being completely run down from doing so much personal training. And that kind of being the boiling point for hitting and going, okay, we have to do something different now. And obviously we chose different directions. And this was so great because we're sitting down being like, wow, we're in the same arena and we can obviously help each other so much with the experience that we've got. But what I'd really love to kind of jump into now was what are the common hurdles you see from all your customers that you work with, all the clients, all the people that probably say they're really interested and you kind of see them go through it, but maybe not make the most of it? What are those hurdles they start getting sort of hit up to and being the biggest problems?
I guess I've got 7 crucial elements that really need to be covered for anyone to start running their own fitness retreats and running successful, profitable ones, not just running them and taking money out of their own pocket and not making a profit. It's very, very different. But saying that, in my experience, running fitness retreats is like following a cake recipe. So if you make a cake and you leave out the eggs, you still have a cake, but it's not quite the same. And working with my clients, we go back through and I'm like, okay, what happened if they do have a problem? And quite often they've left out one of these elements. They go back and correct it and they get a great result.
Sorry, you go, Dom.
Yeah, that's okay. So do you want me to talk about these elements?
Yeah, let's go into those 7 elements for sure.
Cool. So the first one I mentioned before is not enough time. Planning is the most crucial element to start running your own retreats. And as I said, you need at least 6 months away from the first big retreat you run, meaning a 2-day or a 1-week event.
Now, with enough time, is this kind of to build the following up, kind of build the buzz about what's going and kind of have the funnel and marketing in place and then be able to have the sales process all happen? Or like, where do you see like that time factor really being needed for?
The time factor, I've touched on a couple of these just before. Number one, when you're setting up the financial side of things, if you have an existing client base, you can do payment plans. And that's probably the number one thing you need for enough time. You need time to market it and you need to be able to offer those payment plans so that you can throw your net out to a broader audience.
Now, when you say payment plans, are we talking about having them fully paid by the time they hit day 1 of the retreat? Or is it, say, the payment plans exceeding after they've actually left?
No. So they'll be paid in full. I'll just jump down because where the payment plans come in is that people think that you need to borrow money a lot of the time, or you need to fund from your own pocket your first fitness retreat. What happens, like when I've run them, I've never had to borrow money and I've never taken money out of my own pocket. I do this in 3 ways. So one is an early bird offer. So this is where the 6-month time frame comes in. When you release your initial marketing campaign, you run an early bird offer for the first 2 weeks. So an early bird offer is like a festival ticket. Like if you get one early, you get 20% off or $200 off or whatever you set it as is up to you. I mean, obviously I've got a system I follow, but as long as it's an incentive, like makes it a no-brainer, I'd be crazy. I want to go to this retreat, but I'm going to save $200 if I pay for it early.
Awesome. So this is really kind of like picking up the low-hanging fruit and adding in that scarcity factor to help push people make the payments and get on board straight away. And
exactly.
Then obviously, whilst you've got these payments coming through, you don't have to dig into your pocket to make payments for anything coming up into the actual retreat later.
Exactly. So the early bird offer works in 2 ways. The first way is they pay up front. I remember the very first time I ran it, I went to like boxing 6 a.m. and I've never had so many people throw envelopes of money at me. I was like, whoa, this really works. Because I'd done the SMS, I'd done the emails, I'd done social media, like I'd revved my existing client base up and they knew the expiry date was coming and everyone just came in and literally just like wads of money. And I was like, obviously extremely surprised. The other way people have done it is they take the early bird offer, but they have to make the first payment with the early bird offer on their payment plan before the early bird offer expires.
Right. So it's like a deposit going down for it.
Yeah. And then because the event is your retreat is 6 months away, you ask them and you can tailor, I've always used direct debit, so you can tailor their payments to suit when they get paid and what they need, etc. And I would ask my clients if they wanted weekly, monthly, fortnightly payments, or if they wanted to make 3 payments, like bi-monthly. And everyone did it slightly different, but they had to have paid for the retreat in full before the retreat happened.
Awesome. Okay, I love that. I think that's good, having that kind of deadline where everything needs to happen, especially because a lot of people might just get a little bit pushed around by people if you don't have the set in stone in this is what's going to happen. And I love that.
Yeah. So on the note of that, with the payment plans, I did a follow-up email always of what the agreement was. Obviously, with an email record, they have a copy of it, you have a copy of it. You can ask them to just email you back, agree. And then there's no dispute of what you agreed upon. Whenever I made any changes to my direct debit system, it was always via email, so I had a record of it. And that was just another example of a system I had in place within my business.
No, I think that's really good. Sorry to just jump in there, Candice, but I think so many people, and I see this with personal trainers all the time, is there's not a black and white agreement going down of what's happening. And that grey area is what so commonly causes so many problems with clients not knowing, or clients underpaying or overpaying, and then you have to refund them. And all these problems can just be cleared up from the get-go, like you're just pointing out.
Yeah, the follow-up email, and the beauty of this is that you just have templates. So when you run a retreat and you have a payment plan agreement, you pull your template up, you don't have to type an email every time, and you just put the specifics to the agreement of what they've requested. It's all black and white. And if they say they never got the email, you've got a copy with the date and the time and everything there. There's no dispute.
Yeah, brilliant.
Just on that point, there was one other way that I've used when I run my retreats so that you don't have to borrow money. And that was to increase your income. I used to do a family and friend offer. So this is kind of, you could even do the similar discount to the early bird offer. You run your early bird offer. People sign up, they're on payment plans. The second marketing strategy is a family and friend offer. So if they recruit a family or friend member, they get maybe a yoga mat each, a cookbook each, those low price point, or even a free report where you've just created it yourself, but it has a high perceived value.
Awesome.
Again, you can give them a discount. So the way I set my price points, I always leave myself room to move, and I always show my clients how to incorporate that so that they're never left out of pocket. They're always getting that minimum that they want for each person, but their customers always think they're getting the best deal possible.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. All right, beautiful. So we've covered the not enough time. We've covered obviously there's no need to jump into your own money and how you can obviously make this. And I think it's an important point you brought up as well that I just wrote down earlier, and that was like running a retreat and actually doing it profitably. Because I think the truth is we both see, Candice, as well, especially here, a lot of people running retreats, but they're not profitable and they're not good. So there is a huge market there to be able to do this right. And that's one reason why I really wanted us to record this episode as well. Right, let's get straight into the second point. What's number 2 with the hurdles you commonly see?
So look, everyone's got unique strengths. Everyone specializes in something. The first retreat I ever ran, I specialized in women's boxing. You need to play to your own strengths. I did have men attend my retreat, but, I specialized in boxing. So that was what my first retreat focused on. I strongly recommend to just be yourself. What you can do is outsource to other specialists and other trainers who have skill sets that complement yours, so that you can add variety to your retreat without having to be someone that you're not.
That's phenomenal. I think that's so good. Like, so many people are they just don't have the clarity on who their market is, that person really wants, and hence why people might struggle to sell the retreats, because people aren't connecting with what that really is that they're signing up for. Where you're saying, this is a boxing retreat, like these are the results that you're going to get from coming out of this, and this is why you should get on board. People are either going to resonate with it 100% and come on board, or other people are just going to be like, no, that's not for me, and that's perfectly fine, but you're attracting in the right type of people.
That's right. And I mean, experience is the next element that I'm going to talk about. But once you have the experience as a facilitator of a retreat, you can then start to specialize more and more. If you see a problem within your community that needs addressing, you can create a retreat based around that issue because you see there's a demand for it.
Awesome. Now, what about, how could we start making this even better?
So when you try to run a retreat without experience, you're kind of left out of your depth. What I recommend that people do is that they run a smaller version of the big event. So this is, 1 month or 2 months into your marketing strategies, you run a mini retreat.
Awesome.
So I used to do this when I very first started out, and I used to run 3-hour training sessions once a month. I built it up to then run a 1 day, and then that eventually 6 months out ran the first 2-day one. So this has evolved over time. And now if I run a retreat, I would run a full 1-day one as the mini retreat. What this does is if you're brand new to running retreats, it gives yourself and your staff a chance to nut out any teething issues that may occur. And there's always some kind of teething issues when you run that first event. And B, it gives your clients a taster of what's coming up. If they've never come to a retreat before, it's your first time, it's your chance to really impress them. And a 1 day, you can 110% do that. And when they're left wanting more, it creates the opportunity for you to close the sale, so to speak, on the bigger event that's 4 months out still.
This is really good because I find a lot of people, it could be too daunting or either too hard, or they could just absolutely become a flop if they try and do, say, a full 7-day retreat. They've never done anything like this before. But I think the beauty as well is testing it out with, say, a 1-dayer. Could just be that then you've got these people that have signed up. It's a lower price point, so you could have gotten more people to sign up than, say, the full 7-day one. And then you can directly market to those people that will be keen, if you've done a good job, to go straight into the big one.
And that's when you can re-release your early bird offer to the people who haven't already signed up and say, look, I did this 2 months ago, but if you do decide to sign up today, you will get the $200 off.
Yeah.
So it's not pushy, not anything. It's just kind of factual, like very casual. But what happens, those people have had such a great day. They've got camaraderie and a great experience with the clients they've done it with. Maybe they've made a new friend. They're kind of high on endorphins. And that is literally your chance to sell yourself.
That's when they're hot. That's when you come back and go, do you want fries with that? And you're able to kind of upsell them into what they really want from there.
Yeah. And because you've got payment plans, like they don't have to pay up front, but if they sign up today, they can fill out the direct debit form and they can create a payment plan on what suits them. It's all very like matter of fact, very casual. The offer's there if you want it. You really, when I've done these mini retreats, never have to do a hard sell. People are like, where do I sign up? That they come to you.
Now, this is obviously a great part because running these, you can get the feedback that's so needed as to have you done a good job, what people want, what people don't want, how you can kind of pivot and tweak. What do you recommend with your clients to do at this point? Like, what are the real kind of openings or questions that you're looking for that will give you what's needed to make the next one even better?
Well, on that point, when you're trying to run a full retreat without experience, you've got no feedback, you've got no reference structure because you've never run one before. So what I suggest all my clients do and what I practice myself is at the end of any retreat, whether it's a mini one, a full one, a 3-hour event, whatever it is, I always give my clients a small questionnaire. I also have one of my trainers going around asking people verbally these questions. But at the end, I give them a chance to write it out. So when my trainers go around asking verbally, they have the video camera and they're getting video testimonials for future marketing.
Awesome.
The written part at the end of the retreat, sometimes you don't want to say what you didn't really like or what you could do better, I should say. I structure the questions for them. So what did they love? What would they like to see more of? And what do they think that you could improve on? So they get a chance to honestly say what they thought. And, if you've done a good job, like you said, Chris, they'll just say, it was great, I just want more of it. But if there is an issue, you can fix it before the big event, which is 4 months away still.
Now, what about, you brought something up and I'm a huge fan of this, and this is obviously like, let's put ourselves in the situation. It's the end of the retreat. People have just been absolutely blown away with the experience that you've delivered. And now this is just prime time to get a video testimonial, which I think is so powerful because you can use that with all your marketing to come after that. How do you get your clients to really use the power of that testimonial and like really suck everything that they need out of it?
Okay, well, this is kind of jumping into one of the other elements.
Oh, okay, let's go. That's good. That's good.
No, it's all right because they're obviously all intertwined and one can't function without the other. So in regards to staffing, I've used in the past what I call green trainers. These green trainers do my video testimonials. A green trainer is someone that is fresh out of school, that wants experience and is eager to learn. So the beauty of these people is that they work for free.
Can we call these green trainers, Candice, minions?
Minions. They're minions.
Sorry.
They actually,
I was watching Minions yesterday with Arlo.
They're like, I call them gophers, but minions is the perfect word. They literally, and I don't know if you remember, Chris, but when you come out, like I studied for a year to get my basic quals and like Cert 3 and Cert 4 full-time study. And I came out and I was so hungry for knowledge.
Like real knowledge as well, like experience, the stuff that counts.
I would have absolutely loved to be invited to work for free at a fitness retreat and be a part of it. I allow my green trainers to run a warm-up, a cool-down. You know, they're hands-on with the people.
Yeah.
They're your gopher or your minion to do all your small jobs. And that includes your testimonials. Because your clients don't always necessarily know these green trainers, they just know that they're staff at the retreat. It means that they tend to talk more honestly and openly about you.
Awesome.
And there's nothing worse than you asking your client for the testimonial and they're like, oh yeah, you're really great.
Yeah.
Like it puts them on a spot. Whereas if it's someone else asking them, they don't really know. I've got some of the most valuable footage I've ever had in my business from my green trainer asking 3 structured questions and just letting the client talk.
What are those 3 questions?
Well, there's something along the lines of like, did you have a good time at the retreat? What did you love about this weekend or this week? And then they honestly tell you. One of the best examples I've had, I ran the family and friend offer I was talking about earlier. One of my clients, I helped lose 16 kilos. She's literally my target market, 35, 2 kids, combined income of over 100,000 a year. Like she was who I targeted my services at when I had my boxing business. And she brought her mum from Sydney with the family and friend offer. The testimonial, she's like so natural, so enthusiastic. She pretty much thanks me for changing her life. She got this bonding experience for her mum. Like, she's like, this sounds so cheesy. And like, but she laughs and like, it's just so natural. And it like that.
That's real. Like the person watching that connects with that. And that, I think that's phenomenal.
Absolutely. And my green trainer at the time, she kind of just rolled with it. Like she was really excellent. And
awesome.
I guess the other 2 questions, like I said before, are simply, what would they like to see more of? When you ask your clients this, and when I run retreats, I like plant the seed in my client's head, I'm going to run a retreat. What would you guys like to see? Or is there something, that interests you that you've heard of? And they'll come back and give you ideas.
That's just such a good thing because obviously this is just turning into an absolute spiral now of just getting better and better and being able to use everything every retreat is going to become better. You get more people, the price point can go up, you can run them more often, everything will grow from those aspects for it.
Exactly. And
can I just jump in? I'm just be really interested with this. Like, what are the results you've been seeing with trainers running retreats? Like, for the listener now that hasn't run one, I'm thinking that through their head, they're like, okay, this sounds really good, Candice and Chris, but like, what are the results that I should expect when doing this right? Like, what have you seen?
Okay. So I guess the first point is the mentoring program that I created is based upon exactly what I do. So it's a 1-year course, and that's simply because of the marketing that's involved and teaching how to do a mini retreat to a 1-day retreat to a 2-day retreat and then a second 2-day retreat that's actually specialized.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the clients I've worked with, I mean, the results always vary, but generally your first retreat, you're kind of aiming for about 30 people. The last person that I helped, she did get 30 people and she was able to make over $20,000 profit from that one retreat.
That's awesome. Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah. And look, her husband and wife, and they own a boot camp business. He was so skeptical when she signed up for this course. But because of the early bird offer and the payment plans, their business started making an income, a passive income to fund the retreat 7 weeks after starting the course.
That's fantastic. And that just shows you the power of actually using what works at the end of the day.
Exactly. So the systems in place, I tried and tested them, and like I said at the start, like I tried it 3 times and had to go through that process of learning how best to engage, how best to gently persuade people and lock them in on a payment plan, how long I needed out from marketing it. And that's the basis of this whole course. And what I do is I wish I had someone just give me the system. have to waste my time and figure it out on my own.
This was a funny thing when we were having breakfast last week and we were talking about this stuff, like both the kind of like the programs that we do to help our clients. It was simply through the frustration of us having to go through it and fail and spend so long and spend so much money. And it's just like, why hasn't someone else put this together? It's so much easier when these steps you can just follow without fumbling all the way through.
Exactly.
All right. Now, I know the listener right now, Candice, will just be frothing at the mouth trying to figure out what the next steps are and where they can go. So what do you recommend the listener does now? Where can they go to learn more about you and what you're doing and how you can help them out even further?
Okay. So my business is Fitmark and the website is fitmark.com.au. I've got a whole series of free reports on there, but there is a lot of information about the course. We've got a bit of a special offer for the listener of this podcast. I'm giving away 6 extra coaching calls if they sign up in the next 24 hours. So the coaching calls are worth about $350 each. And that ultimately gives you get one a month plus the extra 6 calls. So any problems that you have, or if you have a question about the system or a question about how to get people on direct debit or set up payment plans, you've got full access to me.
All right. Okay, so a big part of what I'm going to put into the show notes is how you, the listener, can click straight over and get a part of that. So I wouldn't twiddle your thumbs. I wouldn't sit on your hands because that's obviously, that's $2,100 of goodness that Candice is just giving away right now. So I'd make sure of that. Candice, we're going to have to do more very soon.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Chris. I think our line just went a little bit funny.
I think it just went really funny as well. It just chopped in and out.
Yeah.
That's all right. We'll do that again. Candice, you've been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on board. What I really want from the listener as well is for you to get in contact with me right now. What more do you want about fitness retreats? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to beg and plead to get Candice back onto the podcast so we can answer more questions and delve further into this and further go into the showcase of what you can be doing if this is a route that you want to go down. And just like the episode that I did with John Logo on high ticket items, how you can add this into your business. It could be a sole business that you're doing as well. So we want to hear from you. Candice, thank you so much for coming on board. I'm looking forward. Well, I'm just going to see you around anyway, but hopefully we're going to have you on soon as well.
I would absolutely love that. Chris, thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.